Welcome everybody. This is going to be a different sort of episode because I lost the audio for myself, even though I tend to keep about 3 separate audio recordings, so I don't know. I don't know. It's not here. I have recording for Sirena, who plays Ciara, and Kristin, who plays Keyanthi, but not for Michael or Kristin or myself. So we're just gonna go off my notes. And you guys will get like the gist of the story, and I'll try to go along with, we have a really great scene after they get out of the caves. So I'm just gonna try to explain what happened. So we ended off with fighting the leprechauns, right? So we're in their den. We have the battle scene going on, and it's Luna's turn, and she's about to make a con save because one of the house plants decided to fight back. And that's because the leprechauns have sort of enchanted their house to have these self-defense mechanisms going on, and it basically like coughed poison on her, and she saved throat, so it's fine. And then after that, I'm pretty sure what happens is they I think we already did the rainbow beam spell, and basically the youngest leprechaun, he sees his friends getting beat up and vanishes, and then one by one they all just start to vanish because they can turn invisible. So they just turn invisible, and then the damsels see that they're gone and the house is empty. So they release Narte from the cage, and he comes out and unshifts and says, well, that was pretty embarrassing. And they sort of chat in the leprechaun's house for a little bit, just talking about their next steps. And then one of them wonders aloud, oh, I wonder if they're still around. And they hear a small voice saying, oh, please leave. So the damsels then realize that the leprechauns are still around, and they decide to just leave peacefully. So they all exit back outside, and Narte shifts back to a peacock, and they travel. And basically, they settle down for the night. I believe I have some notes on that I can read aloud to you guys. The event today absorbed mostly all the daylight. So you settle down for the night. During the night, it's calm and still. The hooting of owls and the rustle of the wind echo in the darkness. The campfire crackles. And then it's up to Ciara, who's going to take the first watch.
So, Ciara reminisces about what it was like back home versus how it is here. At home, she has a lot of memories of the other children she had grown up around. They were to be her peers, her fellow warriors, her kin, effectively. And she just is a little bit floored by how much it mattered when she was younger, like how much it mattered to fit exactly like them. So much so that she had befriended someone who pretty much was an effective leader of the pack type. She was strong, she was capable, she had fervor like way beyond her years. She was driven, intelligent, and effective in most things, both in physical and mental capabilities. And she admired her a lot. And had even sought to be her friend, her equal, and sort of she's one of those people who is so zealous and so confident that they sort of bring up everyone in the room. Not really like the whole chummy, yeah, you got it, team. Instead, it's like you are racing to catch up, because that is the bar that you need to raise up to. And she liked to think that this person was a close friend, and she at some point had at least brushed just very closely with maybe that potential before she started to see some clarity of what her father was doing, before she began to question what he was doing. And she wonders where he is now, if at any point in time he was ever hurt by the fact that she was effectively willing to leave him behind so that she could stay in that society, stay with her friend who had to that point had even cared enough to sort of try and not really lift her up, but at least encourage that she become just as strong. And she thinks on it, and she regrets a few things that she did about how she left her mother, how she sort of let them fall by the wayside because she felt she had something else to do. And now that she's up here, she doesn't have, it's so vast, it's so much more vast than she expected, and she's just like, she doesn't even know where to start. She doesn't even know where her journey ends. She doesn't even know if she's ever truly free of Briotriac. She has every faith that she will either fall back into the soul chain of Briotriac, or that her friend may inevitably have to hunt her down, drag her back home, and make an example of her as a deserter. And she's afraid of that. She's afraid of a lot of things. And it's so interesting that she feels a little bit far away from it, but every moment she feels a little bit, in these moments where she's alone, she feels close to it, because it's dark, just like the cave, and she just vaguely wonders, did I ever leave at all? It's a lot of philosophical things happening, and she's just like...
looking at the stars, reflecting, and...
Yeah.
Feeling a lot of feelings. No.
Yeah, it's a lot of feelings, again.
I'm trying to sort through a lot of things, and Ciara, are you, is that a sufficient amount that you want to share?
Yes.
Okay, didn't want to cut you off. So, I can imagine she's sort of leaning on her knees and, playing with something in her hands just to, keep herself busy somewhat, and then you feel this little, pebble, hit you. It was against your armor. You look at it, and you're like, what was that? And you look around, and everyone else is either in trance or sleeping, and you listen, and you hear psst, psst.
A little closer to the mic. I hear a little what?
A little psst. Like someone's trying to get your attention. A little psst.
She has good dark vision, so she just sort of looks at where she hears it, her ears, meh.
And you look around, and you see this figure in the distance. She looks familiar to you, and you can't quite make it out because it's you swear it's Fiona, but you're like, why is she here? Because she's your mage friend, and then she kind of beckons you. Come on. And she just throws something on the rock, and the rock misses.
I know you see me.
I know you see me. See a finger. You see a finger look at her, point at her face, and then point at you, and then point at the ground.
And she just sort of it's reflexive for her hand to sort of touch her her hip, the not holster. Stop saying holster, brain. The scabbard, and she just sort of she does duck and come up a little closer. She's like, "What's that?" Fiona.
And she doesn't come closer to you. You're pretty, and you look at her, and do you go to her? She just keeps...
I inch a little closer. I'm trying to see if there's anything weird about how she looks, and I'm trying to look around to make sure that it's is she alone? Is this a phantom? Is this bear?
Is this bear?
Is it a bear? There are owls with bear bodies. They're people, Fiona bodies. Fiona bear? We don't know. It's the top side. It's a new world up here.
You're like, what?
Anything is possible.
Anything is possible here.
It could all just be bears. And she just inch closer, quietly too, because she's like.
You see, these four little, globules of light come out, and they illuminate her face, and it's her. And then she's just she makes this face what are you doing? Get over here. And then she's just get over here.
Looks back at camp, looks back. Oh, Christ. For Pete's sake. And she goes over, and she's just what?
So
what you doing here?
We're here to rescue you, of course. Come on, these crazy people. And then she's just Turfla's here with me. She's let's go.
Winter, what? Just like, she what?
And then you like feel this big heavy hand on your shoulder, and then it's just like Ciara.
Oh god! And her soul exits her body before it boomerangs back and like,
You look up, you see Dervla, the proud, the strong, the glorious. She's Ciara. We've come to bring you home. What are you doing out here? I thought to myself, the only reason you'd be out here is if you were brainwashed or you were kidnapped. So we're here to get you home. And then she's just like, you don't want to abandon home, do you?
The amount of threat without meaning to threaten, it's like a lead brick. It's like the lead ceiling. Just, oh wow, that's a cave wall on my head.
Yeah, and like her hand just like squeezes on your shoulder.
And like Ciara there's just a moment where she just feels small. And she just like, come, we can talk at least. And she just sort of like is like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god.
Okay, and so Dervla just she drops her hand. She's like, all right, we can come talk. You know, and she you guys like just kind of like. There's this boulder nearby where their camp is, and they have like a set of horses and some gear, and she leans against the boulder and she's like, what are you doing with them? You know they abided, you know they helped fugitives get out. What did they... How could you do this?
And Ciara's just like trying to collect her thoughts because she's like, this is a weird non sequitur to her to be like, they're here, and here is not there, and it's very not separate now. Oh no. Have they seen the sun too? It's just the things that go through her head.
Have they seen the sun too?
Have they seen the sun too? Like, it's huge! It's a bonfire in the sky! It's a lot of mind-blowing moments for Ciara, and it's just settling in. So she stands there because she doesn't really know whether to sit or to do anything, but she's sort of like, yeah, they helped fugitives out, but I still can't wrap my mind around why you're here and all, but and she's fidgety, which is probably something she shouldn't be doing around others who had grown up with her at like throughout school, because they're usually much more brought to the beam, much more well-paced, and she's just like, she's anxious, obviously. She feels like she's done something wrong. And
Dervla looks at you and she's like, but did our years together, training together, mean nothing to you? We spent decades together, and one day you just up and leave, go after your crazy father, chasing his crazy dreams.
It's not crazy though, it's... Dervla, no, I didn't know what to do the way I did, but I couldn't see any other way. I had to... There's a lot going on, and with all of it going on, I don't think I can in good conscience stay where I was. It's not that it didn't mean nothing, it meant everything. It meant the world to me. You think that I just throw it all away like it means nothing? No, it's more that I can bear to just think that I'm leaving. And she just sort of like pauses, and she just... It meant the world to me. It means the world to me.
They can come home.
I can't. Don't you see?
No.
I can't.
You left us. You left me.
No,
you left me. You left your mother. You left everything that we taught you. And now you're in this crazy world with these crazy people and thrown in your lot with arcane elves, and I feel like I don't know you. Where's my friend?
Dervla, and she sort of like looks at Fiona, she looks at you.
Fiona's just like, I don't really like like them either. They just showed up at my family's house and talked my aunt and my cousin into hiding fugitives in their wine cellar like a bunch of nutjobs. Who does that? No, I don't like them. They're just gonna use you and then leave you on the side of the road like they did their friend.
They're desperate, can't you see?
Desperate's
And
what
she
makes them
pauses for a moment.
dangerous.
We're desperate damsels.
I know, and I understand where you're coming from. I know exactly what you're saying, but... And she looks at Dervla. Please. I can't go back. Not the way I am now. I have too many questions now. I don't know up from down. I don't know the sky from the ground, and and it's so hard. I want to come home, but I can't. I can't the way I am. There's too many questions. Just sense it. Don't you get it? I'm not strong enough. I'm not strong enough to stay any longer. I have to go. And I know you're strong enough to do it, but I can't do that to you. Having you be more secure than I am where you're at. You can't do that for me, and I can't do that for you. It has to be this way. And I want to go home more than anything. Don't ever doubt that, but I would give everything to be able to come home.
What's this?
But I need to find it here, whatever it is.
Dervla falls silent, and then her face hardens and then softens, and then she looks
shaking.
She looks at you with these intense eyes, like the eyes of someone, like I had dreams of us being in the Drow army together and bringing bride to the clans together.
You dreamed that we would have a future, that we would be staring at each other from across a battlefield, raining lots of hell upon anyone who dared stand against us.
I mean, yeah,
and the
that's
rain and fire we would be together.
Yeah, a big, glorious battle. But I see I can't convince you to come home.
Not as I am right now.
So.
And I thank you for coming up here. As you are. The both of you.
She goes and she actually pulls you into like a tight hug. And then it's like a little uncomfortable because she's just buff.
It's like hugging a rock, and the rock hugs hard. And Ciara, dwarfed by her, she's like half a head shorter, and so she just hugs back.
And then she gets on her warhorse. It's like super awesome and big. And then,
super awesome and big.
Yeah. And then she gets up and like the moon's behind her in this big epic scene, and then Fiona's just kind of flanking her, and she says, because of our long friendship, Ciara, I'm gonna let you go. But if you come back, we can't be friends. Because of what you decided to be. And then she turns around on her horse and then looks over her shoulder and says, the next time we meet, it's not gonna be as friends. Goodbye, Ciara. And Fiona.
And like as she's turning, she's like, Darfly!
You made your choice, Ciara. I've made mine.
May it bring your soul solace. Right strong.
And then they gallop into the distance. You're left alone in the forest.
And Ciara is She just, like, takes a moment and, like, she moves to step towards camp and she sort of, like, buckles a little bit and she just... "'Tis what it is." And she shuffles back towards camp. She'd wanted to say more, but there was nothing else that would come out at the time she could that would have mattered at that point.
Can I take?
And she sort of morosely makes her way back to camp, just trying not to make a huge fuss and fuddle, even though she's sort of doing this thing where she, like...
trying to, like, compose herself.
Did this wake anybody up, particularly the horses?
No, they were far enough off that I don't think it would have waken anyone up unless someone, like, really wants to be up right now.
Can I take next watch?
Yeah, Ellie.
Who did that?
Ellie, you
Yeah, I
perk up.
I walk towards. I'm pretty sure I'm walking towards Ciara since we're going to be switching. Since we're going to
I hear
be.
you, Michael. What is Michael saying?
I'm pretty sure I'm walking up towards Ciara since we're going to be switching watches. And I walk up to her and say, "Alright, my watch. Hey,
Right.
Ciara,
Yeah?
thanks for joining us."
Thanks for having me, lass. And she pets her shoulder and, like, Fauna, like, plays with her hair.
Yeah,
Keep an eye on those hoppers, will ya?
yeah, and I hold her hand, and then I let go, and I go off to my watch.
And we'll conclude tonight's episode there. Thanks for joining us.
Aww.
Hello, this is Tiffany, your DM. Thank you so much for listening to Dungeon Damsels. We really appreciate all your support. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That really helps us out. And if you're interested, we also have a Patreon as well as a podcast version of our show. You can find it on Spotify, TuneIn, Podcast, Podbay, Podbean, and pretty much anywhere where podcasts are. Thank you again so much, and we hope to hear from you soon.